Hello.
Hello?
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hey, Joan. So, thank you, everyone, for joining back for this session. I just want to introduce our next speaker of the day, and she is Joan Ruto. She's from Caroline Communications Limited, where she works as the head of programs there. Joan is experienced in highly effective communication and marketing. She's done strategy along these areas in consulting and training and consulting for a very long time. And she has a bachelor's degree from the University of Nairobi in communications, political science, public administration major, and sociology, and has worked with diverse clients from government to non-governmental organizations in multiple sectors, including retail, ICT, energy, manufacturing, and financial. She brings on board a wealth of expertise in brand audits, communications, strategic planning, leadership, and project management. And today she will be helping us to uncover, what the foundational things need to be for us to deliver great presentations. Without brief introduction, we will be now handing over the floor to Joanne.
Now,
Thank
as
you.
Daniel has introduced me, I will be taking you through for this session. I'll focus more on speaking in public. So, are you at a loss of words? Sometimes you have shaky voice, sweaty palms, blurred vision, name them. Please let me know what you normally feel before speaking in public in at the chat box from your end. And sometimes actually you actually experience forgetfulness. I will tell you, for one, I'd gone for an interview and I literally forgot my name. I didn't know, should I start from my surname, should I start from my middle name, or should I start from my first name? Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, these are all symptoms of fear. My name is Joan, or Joan in Kenyanese. I prefer to be called Joan, and I will be with you for the next about 30 minutes. Truth is, you don't have to feel that way. You don't have to feel the fear when communicating in public, and I will tell you why. Now, the beauty about public speaking is that it is an acquired skill. You're not born with it, and you are the only one who can stand in your way. So it's not innate, and it is not a talent. Work has to be done. You have to put in the work so that you see the results. I know most of you will have questions in between the session. You can leave those questions in the chat box below, but I'll present an interactive plenary at the end of the session so that we don't have back and forth between the sessions. So we'll have the Q&A towards the end. Just bear in mind the questions that you will be having, or jot them down. Okay, thank you. So the question begs, if you're dissatisfied with your abilities, what are you doing about it? Now, the starting point for great public speaking is actually self-awareness. I'm sure you've had this all throughout this 1 week long summit, things to do with self-awareness or personal impact. Now, more specifically, we shall focus on the mindset towards the SANA. What's your mindset towards public speaking? Do you feel fear when you're told, or someone suggests to you that you might be called upon to give a vote of thanks, or you might be called upon to pray? For God's sake, you've been told to pray. Let's say you're in an hospital, you've gone to visit someone who's sick, and by the mention of the word that, you know what, John, you're going to pray for us, you just feel like, let the earth open, let it swallow you whole. Yeah. I hope by the end of this session that won't be the reality for you, and you will awaken or ascend from one level to another. Speaking of levels, there are levels to this. So I invite you to explore the levels of consciousness, and if you like, levels of public speaking. Remember, this is a mindset thing. So we shall be changing your paradigm towards public speaking. So there are 4 levels, but I will focus on 3 during this forum. So let's explore level 1. So level 1 is about victim consciousness. Victim consciousness. And what does the victim feel during this level? So if you're in if you're on level 1, I'd like to give you some signs and symptoms for you to know if you're a victim of public speaking. So if you feel like it will work against you, if you feel like if you're told to speak in public and you will actually mess your presentation up, you will actually be blamed for letting the team down. At the end of the session, you feel hate towards yourself because you feel like, why do they have to make me do this? I am not talented in this field. So that's about level 1. So you'll feel like public speaking will work against you, yet you're doing nothing to improve the situation. You're constantly having excuses as to why you can't do any sort of public speaking. So you're a victim if you feel shame, you now focus on your flaws and you feel insecure, ashamed of, let's say, your accent, where you came from, your level of knowledge towards the subject matter, your voice, you feel like your voice might work against you. You'll also feel you'll be in some sort of blame game. So you blame could be your genetics, your level of education, your personality, your upbringing. You blame the person who advocated for you to speak at that point. You hate yourself for not being up to the task. You also hate the person who put you up to that task or the position of public speaking. And believe it or not, you hate public speaking. You actually regret being in that position. You regret that you're not exposed to, let's say, great orators when you grew up, or you regret that you're not actually raised in a position where you'd acquire these skills. So you say, maybe it's because I'm from the village, that's why I'm not a great public speaker. Public speaking is for people who were born and raised in townships. So the narrative there is, you're just complaining. You're just complaining. You're just complaining. Ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this is a defeatist mindset. Remember when I started this session, I said it's about your mental state. And that's why we are doing these levels of consciousness towards public speaking. So if you can work on your inner presence, then your outer presence will fall into place. So with this, be prepared with the victim mindset or the victim level, be prepared to have everything working against you. Please be prepared to meet people who also speak of or speak badly or hate public speaking. Because on that level, you just attract people or situations from the same wavelength. So defeat begets defeat. As a man thinketh, so is he. Energy flows where attention goes. I'm sure you've all heard of this. So I invite you to shift your paradigm and ascend to the second level. Guess what the second level is about? So you were a victim in the beginning, and then the next level is about being a victor. So are you a victor? I'll tell you if you're a victor. And as I mentioned those characteristics, please do some self-reflection, see where you fit. So when it comes to victor consciousness, or if you feel like you're a victor when it comes to communicating or speaking in public, so this is the level where life happens for you. Remember the first level we spoke about public speaking working against you, and even life as a whole working against you. The second level, this is happening for you and by you. So the second level is about life or public speaking, more specifically working for you and by you. So this is the doer consciousness. You recognize that you have flaws in public speaking. You realize that there's so much available to make you better. So what are some of the things that you do? You go online, you look for free resources like this webinar, and you join and you learn a tip or two about public speaking. So you're doing something about it. The difference between this level and the other level, the victim consciousness level, is that the victim does nothing. They're actually just there. They do nothing. It's just about complaining. Or you enroll for public speaking classes with experts like us, CCL. So you do public speaking anyway, even if you do it afraid. You take it as an opportunity to make you better. You take it as an opportunity to make you better. So failure is not something that is going to work against you. It's something that it's actually good feedback, because it shows you this is where you need to work on, and you work on it to be better. So in fact, even fear is good for you because it shows that you care. In fact, in public speaking, fear is something that we normally welcome because it causes adrenaline that is meant to give you a surge, a pump of energy to help you with your presentation. Voice projection needs that sort of energy, engagement, and so forth, and so on. So you know you're a victor or on victor mode if you feel the following. Remember, on level 2, which is the victor consciousness or victor level, there is fear, and this is fear that propels you to seek change. Have you ever been in a situation where, let's say, you fear losing your job, hence you will work on your skill so that you don't lose? Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Now, this is the fear. This is the fear you ought to feel that will bring about change. You have desire. You strongly desire to change for the better. You're angry. You have anger. And your anger is about your current situation. You want to change it. For you, enough is enough. And you need change. You need to move to the next level. So that's what will cause you to seek, let's say, help, so that you can be good at presenting. And there's also some feeling of pride. So you demand nothing but the best from you. You believe that you deserve to be in a certain position. So you're putting in the hard work, and your hard work is noticed, or let's say smart work, and it's being noticed externally. So you're putting in the hard work inwardly, you're changing who you are as a person, and what your environment, what is experienced externally, is also being noticed. So as a result of this, you go up from rank to rank. If it's a matter of, let's say, your job, people notice that you can speak in public, and people nominate you to do presentations at work, and that results to you getting, let's say, a promotion at work. So this is working for you, but it is also working because you're putting in the work. It's working by you. Now, however, you're tired at the end of the day. In as much as you're putting in the work and everything is working for you, and by you're getting exhausted, you're getting tired because you're doing things, you're really doing things. And a lot of startups normally experience this. You might start as a 1 month show, so you're doing a lot of things by yourself. You're the salesperson, you're the receptionist, you're the CEO. So there's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, you're growing inch by inch. There's expansion. Now, wouldn't it be heavenly if all these things, including public speaking, would be done with such ease? No struggle at all. No struggle at all. You are in what we call flow state. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to explore level 3, where life happens through you, or public speaking in particular happens through you. So you're a vessel, and things just come flowing through you. That's why we're calling it the flow state. So you love it when you're told to speak. And people actually look forward to listening to you when speaking. People pay you to speak in public. So it's working out for you, but also through you. So words just come to you without struggle. Remember, level 1 is where you're at a lack of words. This time, words, stories, things just come to you without struggle. Have you ever been in this position where you just read of something or you are experiencing that sort of thing, and then people started talking about it? Let's say it could be even at work or even at home at a social gathering, and they start talking about it, and then you put in your contribution, and it feels like you are a master of whatever that is. That's flow state. So bye bye to being speechless. Bye bye to feeling all the jitters. You're actually filled with courage, and people have confidence in you, and you're confident about speaking in public. So this is the level where you're empowered, and life public speaking is exciting. I keep on mentioning life because everything is connected. So it's not only public speaking, it's your business, it's your family life. So it's life in general that is exciting, and you feel empowered. What are some of the things you experience or you feel as a person on this level? Please check if you can tick all the boxes. So you have willingness, success comes your way, growth is rapid, and you're overcoming your inner resistance to public speaking, to life, and what it has to offer. So this will lead us to acceptance. So the first thing you'll experience, or one element you experience, is willingness. You're willing to do things, and everything comes to you at ease. So there's that willingness, even to learn more, to expand. And then growth happens to you because opportunities also come to you. So for you, growth happens in such a rapid way. Yeah. So the next thing is acceptance. With acceptance, you'll experience major, extremely, and I'm telling you, major transformation. So you accept, since you accept the position you are in, actually, you're even grateful that people give you opportunities to speak in public. And at this point, you are the source, you're the creator. You feel like you're the source, you're the creator of what is happening to you in life. Yeah? Remember, as within, so is without. I don't remember if it's Sun Tzu who said this. Sun Tzu was a highly skilled military philosopher back in China, I think back in the 1600s. So he shared some arts, the art of war, but the skills and the tips or the principles that he shares in the book apply not only to public speaking, it also applies to business and also to life. So when you work on your inner presence, the external presence will follow suit. I mentioned this earlier. The next aspect or next element is you reason. So there's so much available, there's so much intelligence available for you. You're rational, you seek knowledge, you seek education, but also you give it out, things that it's happening through you, you're a vessel. So you're sharing so much, all that you acquired, even through level two, which was Victor, when you were doing things, you learned a lot. Most people say experience is the best teacher. So you learned through experience, now you're mentoring people through that experience. There's also love at this point. You love life, you love public speaking, you have true happiness accompanied by high intuition. High intuition. High intuition is good because it will help you connect with your audience. So you will have a high sense of the energy within the room, within your audience, and you speak to address that. Have you ever been in a situation, especially, and the most common one is a church situation, where the speaker speaks, okay, the speaker talks about something that you've been battling with or really resonates with you, and you feel like, man, that's actually right on the money. He's speaking right into your heart, and if you like, he's speaking right into your soul. That's the level of intuition that you want to be in. You walk into a room, it's full of 1,000 people, and you can actually sense the mood of what they are yearning to hear from you. And you actually deliver that, and they feel like, yes, you spoke to my heart. That really resonated with me, and you've actually influenced me to change my life for the better. You have purity of motive from your heart. And as I said earlier, this helps you connect and move your audience. Now, when you have notable effect on others, this brings about joy. You will definitely feel joy when speaking in public, when someone tells you that you're going to be invited for this, say, convention, and the whole world will be listening to you. Actually feel so much joy. Now, this is not about now the individual, your individuality. It's going to translate to something bigger than you. So you're doing something for the collective, and that actually merges your individuality with the divinity. And everything that happens is effortless for you on this level. Everything that happens is effortless. You're experiencing what we call pure synchronicity or beautiful coincidences. I'm sure most of you have had such experiences when you just thought of something and it appeared. Yeah? When you thought of, oh, I wish I had this opportunity to do this and that, and then someone just calls you and talks about something similar to that. Yeah? So last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, you are at a place of peace. And this is what everyone is looking forward to just feel peaceful, to feel confident, to feel courageous, to feel love towards public speaking because you have great contribution to the world and your community. Yeah. So I welcome you to explore level 3 when it comes to public speaking. But you will not jump level 2. If you're on level 1, you will not jump level 2 and then you get to level 3. You will still have to do the work. So this talk will not will not be enough for you to be a great public speaker. You still need to put in the work. And as I mentioned earlier, you're the one who's standing in the gap or in the you're standing in the place of for you to move from one level to another. You're standing in the way. Yeah, I'd forgotten the word way. You're standing in the way of if you're on level 1, you're standing in the way of you getting to level 2. Because level 1 means you're still complaining. Level 1 means you feel shame. Level 1 means you still blame people if they actually nominate you to speak in public. So my job right now is to enlighten you or awaken you to the fact that you need to move or ascend from one level to another, and there is a lot of work that needs to be done. Please note that you might be on level 3 in public speaking, but let's say in financial management, you could be on level 1. So what's your overall level as a person? I'm sure you're wondering. There are things you can do with ease. Let's say you can cook at ease without even thinking about it. It's just flowing. But when it comes to public speaking, maybe you're at level 1. You just feel like there's tremendous fear with public speaking. And that's something that we get to do as human beings. That's part of life. But we can change that. Once you're aware of, let's say, your shortcomings and you're willing, remember we mentioned willingness in the beginning, at level 3, you're willing to change, then there's nothing that can stand in the way between you and success. Yeah. So an individual's overall level of consciousness is the sum total of effects, the sum total effects of all levels. So if you're on level 3 when it comes to cooking, and you're on level 2 when it comes to managing your business, but you're on level 1 when it comes to public speaking, if you do the sum total and get the average, you'll know where you are in life in general as a person. So for that, you could be in victor consciousness. And I'm sure most of you are on victor consciousness because you took the liberty to invest your time to listen to these webinars so that you can change an element in your life. Yeah. So what's your level? Are you pushed to change because of fear? Is your pride or anger causing you to change? Or are you transforming out of your willingness to do so? I'm very curious to hear in the chat section. So the ball is on your court. You have the power to do so. You have the power to do so. Do it afraid. Do it anyway. Yeah? So in conclusion, or before I welcome you to have that interactive session, I'd like to leave you with these words. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving. Thank you very much. And I look forward to engaging with you and just reading through your questions. Yeah, reading through your questions, or what are some of the things that you normally experience before speaking in public, or what are your pain points when it comes to public speaking? Are you good at, say, creating the content, but delivery is amiss? Does your voice betray you? Because all this, we can actually change that. We can work on your voice. We can make you highly engaging. There's so much available, as I said earlier. There is so much available. So let's hear your questions.
Right, John, thank you so much. John, one of the questions that came was, um, oh, this is interesting.
Okay.
Someone's asking if they're in communications, what career path can they take? I'm guessing it's someone who's in school and they're trying to figure out what to do.
Okay.
Maybe you can share your experience. Yeah.
Okay. So if you're in communication, the beauty about communication, I came to realize, is that it can really work for you because it's actually the backbone of society. Can you imagine a world without communication? Businesses have to communicate to clients, and they call it marketing. So you can be in marketing. Strategy. How do you relay? So I've had let's say clients who came to say, we have all this in place, we've put everything together, but there seems to be people don't really understand our brand. That also ties back to communication. How are you communicating your brand? And it could be in three ways. It's actually three ways, what we call three V's. The visual, what people see, the vocal, what people hear, and the verbal, the words that you use. So you can be, let's say, a strategic communications consultant. You can actually also be a tutor or coach in communication. You can merge communication. For me, I merged communication with political science so that I can also venture into the political space because it requires also a lot of influence in communication, leadership, guidance. So there's so much available. What you will need to do as an individual is to, let's say, do some sort of introspection. What do you love doing? There are people who love, let's say, copywriting. It's still communication. So which of the V's work for you? Is it visual? Can you do graphics? Is it vocal? Can you speak and teach people how to speak? Is it verbal? Can you write really great content and still communicate with people or communicate your brand with other people or do that for your clients? So there's so much available. I'd like to interact with the person who asked that so that we can have a session at least to interact on that.
All right. So if you want to ask that, that came during registration, just send a private message, yeah, and we'll reach out to you. So there's another question that also came then. I have a problem with public speaking. I can begin very well, and then I find myself missing the point. What's wrong with me? For presentations, am I supposed to read what is in the presentation or to explain and elaborate? Okay, so I guess there are two questions. Yeah, so the first one is they start off very well and then they sort of feel like they're rambling. Yeah. And then they ask, are they supposed to literally read what's in the presentation? Are they supposed to explain and elaborate? I'm guessing they're speaking about, let's say, like a PowerPoint presentation.
Okay. Thank you, Beryl. So to answer the first question, so you start off very well, then you lose words. Chances are, now it takes a lot of work to prepare for a presentation. In fact, let's say for this presentation, it took me about 3 weeks to just put everything together. If you didn't prepare well, there is actually proper preparation. We have a module on proper preparation. So you can be preparing, but if you don't really prepare properly, then you're bound to have, let's say, you will lose words. So I'll give you some of the tips. Preparation doesn't happen overnight. And then you say, I have prepared for my presentation, I'm going to do it tomorrow, and I'm going to ace it. That's a lie. Preparation happens gradually. Do you have a speaking bank? Speaking bank, let me just type that down. Speaking bank. Where whenever you're called upon to speak, you have, let's say, some phrases, some quotes, juicy words to share with people, so that whenever you feel dumbfounded, you can quickly pick up something from your speaking bank, and it will help you. So that's something I'd like to encourage everybody to have, a speaking bank. And how do you create a speaking bank? One, if you are a reader, then you'll have plenty of phrases, words, connectives, and you will not be at a loss of words. If you're someone who loves listening to audiobooks, please do so as many times as possible, but not only listen, actually do the speaking, share whatever you've learned, so that those words stick with you. I had said earlier that, say, great public speakers, that time I said defeat begets defeat. But also, if you hang out with giants, if you hang out with people who are good at public speaking, you're bound to get that. It's going to rub off on you. So you'll be harvesting how they normally, let's say, connect one point to the other, their vocal, the tone of variation, how they engage their audiences. So you will definitely pick that from them, and it will work for you. So if you're at a loss of words, something that can help you during a session is to have what we call prompters. And don't feel ashamed to go back to your notes to check. It's okay. So this leads me to the types of speeches. There are people who memorize their speeches. That's okay if it works for you. If you're someone who will memorize your speech and you'll deliver it in a way that you will still connect with people, so you don't lose your personality in it. What I mean by losing your personality is you don't sound robotic. You don't sound like you're reading somewhere. For example, Caroline Communications, I'm going to read something so that you feel how it's going to sound. Caroline Communications Limited. Second floor, Eaton Place, UN Crescent, Kikiri. That's very mechanical. So if you memorize your speech, make sure you still put your personality in it. So we have the memorized speech. Number two, we have impromptu speeches. These are the ones that you're not aware you're going to be called upon to speak. Hence, whenever you step out of your house and you're going to work or you're going to anywhere where you'll find people, please be prepared to speak. Please have your speaking bank ready. There's no shortcut to this. There is no shortcut to this, because you might be called upon to speak. Even if you didn't anticipate it, what if you're called upon to speak? What will happen? And for us, we normally say you never take a break from excellence. If you're called upon to speak, don't mention that, oh, you guys, I have just been ambushed. I was not prepared to speak. Anyway, I'm going to do it. Just do it. Take it in your stride. Do it anyway. Do it confidently, even if it's to just say, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here. Reiterate on some of the words that the previous speakers spoke about, and you say, thank you. You will still walk out of that place having looked confident, because nerves never show on your exterior. I'm sure most of you see that. Nobody will see how your heart beats. It never shows on your blouse. People don't see tremors on your blouse when your heart is beating so fast. That's the assumption that we normally have. It's our brain actually playing, exaggerating everything for us. Yeah. So if you're not good at memorizing speeches, and I've said impromptu speeches, you just have to have something in your speaking bank so that you can express that. Then other thing would be have what we call extemporaneous an extemporaneous speech. So you have prompters, you have words, keywords that will prompt you to remember what you had forgotten. So if you find that you always forget, so this is a habit, you really, frankly, you've done your proper preparation, but at some point you forget, have that at the back, just go with your backup. So that if you forget, you check in your notes. Yeah, so that it becomes a prompter for you. I hope I've answered your question.
You have. That was very comprehensive. Um, so Janam says, is the tone of the voice high or low, bass or soprano, showing the level of confidence in public speaking? So I'm guessing, there's the tone of your voice. You have to have a certain tonation to be perceived as more confident or a better public speaker.
Yeah, that's what we call in voice. I love that question. So we have some certain P's of voice. So we have pitch. I'd mentioned one earlier when I was addressing the other question, which was personality. So you still have to speak. People have to interact with your personality, the personality of your voice, which is now the unique bit of our voices. Now the pitch of our voice, if it's too high, it actually means maybe you're feeling fear. So it goes, it's like it will be soprano like, the pitch is high. And some people actually experience that when you're about to start in the beginning, you feel like your voice changed to a high pitched voice, which is above normal, your normal kind of voice. You'll know it is high because it's above the normal. And then maybe it mellows down as you continue, it becomes grounded. And you'll also even notice it with people. Maybe say you ambushed someone to say something, and then they will start with, let's say, a shout. It's like they got scared. You asked them something, so they will start with a high pitched kind of voice, then mellow down or go down to now a voice with low resonance. So, what is ideal for you as a speaker? The ideal kind of voice is a low resonance voice. The high pitched one comes from the throat, it doesn't come from your belly. It doesn't come from your belly. And you're bound to even feel like you're breathless or speechless, or your tongue is becoming dry. All that are effects of adrenaline. So, if you're one who does breathing exercises before your presentation, take your deep breaths. Just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just right now, breathe in through your nose, breathe in through your nose, and out through your mouth. You tell me how that feels. If you're the person who meditates before or does, let's say, words of affirmation before your presentation, do that so that you ground yourself. Your nerves become a bit managed. So the nerves won't, well, it's meant to be there so that it gives you some surge of energy. But you need to get grounded. And before I forget, silence is good for you. Before you speak, don't speak. Silence is good for you. That's actually one of the third P of voice is pause. Pause for effect, pause to reflect. So that at that point, you will actually capture everybody's attention. Try it next time when you're speaking. Just do a pause, a 3, 4, 5 second pause. Look at everybody in the room. If you're in an on site session, look at everybody in the room, smile at them, and then start speaking. The first thing about speaking is not speaking. Okay? Good.
That's an awesome point. I think it's even a good point to use. You know, when you're
Yes.
asked to do speech at a wedding and guys really do mic check 1 2 1 2. Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? Yeah. It when it's funny when you pause, people just naturally will keep quiet.
Yes,
You
it's
don't even
true.
have to say. It's the weirdest thing, but it happens. All right. So Wendy asks, sometimes, oh, or it's a statement. Sometimes delivering is the issue, even if I have a super awesome script. Yeah, I think you've covered that. Caroline asks, what do you focus your eyes on in public speaking? What are you supposed to be looking at?
Sorry, Caroline asked what? What are you supposed to
What do you
be?
focus your eyes on when you're speaking in public?
So, Caroline, when you're speaking in public, there's something we call filling the room with your eyes. So if you look at someone in the eye, they will feel some sort of connection. Something will happen in them. If let's say you're in a boardroom and your boss came and said something, he's addressing everybody, but also focuses. Don't really stare at someone, but stares at, not really staring, looks at you for a second to see if you're in agreement, and then looks at someone. There's something about eye contact. It sparks connection. So it depends. If it's a room of, let's say you're having a meeting, you have 4 people in that room, make sure as you speak, you're moving your eyes to focus on everybody. You're looking at them. That's what we're calling filling the room with your eyes. You're looking, making sure that they all feel like you're talking to them, you care for them, and you're doing this for them. The mistake that most of us do, especially let's say when we are pitching or when we are on or during an interview, is we scan the room and we assume the person who's most senior is meant to be addressed. That's a big no. Make sure as you address the people in that room, you're focusing on each one of them equally. If you focus on one person, the other people will feel disregarded, and you don't want that. And yet, maybe they would have vouched for you during that pitch. So never focus just on one person. Make sure your room feels your eye contact meets with each person. Don't stare. Don't take too long on one person. They might feel intimidated, but just a soft gaze. Yes, a soft gaze. And if it's on a platform or a space where you have thousands of people in attendance, make sure you scan the hall. So you're not speaking to your immediate people only, you're also speaking to the people at the back. If they have seats at the top, you're speaking to people at the top, you're speaking to everyone. So movement also will help as much as eye contact helps during delivery of speech. I hope I've answered you.
That's a very good answer. So Karui says, I have a special appreciation for level 2, the victor. It has helped me in instances to harness my fear and look at what I can do about the situation, sort of like making lemonade out of the lemon. Okay, I like
Yes,
that.
yes, exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
and we have a question that came in private. How can
Yeah.
you shut down the inner voices that always keep telling you you're making mistakes? Okay, so let's just say it. Joan, we are fearful. Yeah. What do we do to banish fear?
As I said earlier, fear is good for you. It's now you changing your paradigm. Sorry. Fear is good for you because it makes you change. Remember, it's fear that enables us to survive as human beings. The adrenaline is good for us because if we saw a snake in the room, we will automatically have that surge of adrenaline to enable us to either fight that snake or have, let's say, flight. Is it flight? So we will flee from that, from the snake, from the snake. Now our mind does not does not have eyes to see if you're fearing a snake or you just fear a concept, you fear public speaking. So it will give you the same amount of adrenaline that you need to be on survival mode. Yeah. So that's the fear is there to help us. But how do you manage? The question here is how do you manage your nerves? You will have those naysaying words from yourself. And I said we are the biggest stumbling blocks for ascension. So me, it goes back to me. Am I my biggest cheerleader or am I my biggest complainer? I'm always complaining about I can't do this. So that's the narrative. Now, if my cup was full of, say, soil, and I want to have clean water, it would take me a lot of, I need to drain in a lot of clean water so that I get rid of the dirty water. So start with positive affirmations. Start saying, I can do this. There are things about me that may be a stumbling block towards my public speaking, but there's something I can do about it. I can change it. In fact, let me give you a book that will really enlighten you on, say, changing our mindsets. And that's where I even derived, let's say, my topic from for today. It's a book by Dr. David Hawkins. He talks about power versus force. Are you doing things from a point of power, or are you doing things from a point of force? So, for example, when it comes to, let's say, shutting down that voice that replays in our mind, do we believe that we have the power to change our mindsets? And once we change our mindset, we can change everything around us. Let me even bring it closer home. There are people right now, in the middle of a pandemic, COVID 19, who are flourishing. But there are people who are acting out of fear and they're not flourishing. What's the difference between the two people? It says they're working, they were all, let's say, they were all put under fallow. For those, fallow means you put on unpaid leave. They don't have any income. They all started from the same level, let's say beginning of April, but one is flourishing, one started something, and the other one, let's say, is still complaining. So if you have those nay words from within yourself, even what I, let's say as a speaker, might tell you might not really convince you because one, you cannot convince an already convinced mind. You need to talk yourself out of that negativity towards positivity. It starts from you. And then once you change yourself, Positive things will happen around you, including positive people, and things will just start flourishing from one level to another. So it's work. I'm taking you back to level two. It has you have to put in the work, listen to positive things so that you believe, or listen to testimonials so that you actually make your mind believe that if it has happened for someone else, it can happen for me. I'm usually very comprehensive, Caroline.
That's all right. Thank you so much for that. I think also to add,
Yeah.
we always have this thing that, I'll finally, the day I do this is
Yeah.
the day that I get good at it. So we're waiting to get really good at something, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's the day we want to do it. So I'm going to practice in the house to speak publicly until the day I'm good, and then now I'll unleash to the world this, vessel.
It
You
doesn't
know,
happen like that.
and
Yeah,
it doesn't
very.
happen like that. It's a lie. You're going to have to get out there. Imagine you stumble. I can see when Wendy asks, is it okay to use and when speaking? You will still and but then you will practice, you will learn new things, and you'll get better.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to get out there. For those people who are like, no, I want to practice in private, you're lying to yourself. Just get out there. And you can start with small things. I think even just getting up and saying, I want to be the one to carry us through this meeting, today, and you start getting comfortable. I want to share something that I learned, in the office I'm talking about. Huh? So
Yeah.
today, guys, I want to do a lunch and learn. I want to share with you what I learned at this place I went to, or this whatever, and learn how to tell stories, learn how to answer questions. It's you have to get out there, and you'll get better. So, Josephine asks, how can one improve on stammering when they stand to speak to a group of people? And I think even these people who, sometimes you have a lisp or something of that nature, what can they do?
Okay. Thank you, Beryl. Just to add on that, I love what you said about practicing. You have to just get out there and swim. You can't say, yeah, you learned swimming, but you didn't learn it in the pool. Like you started learning it in your bedroom, and then you say, I've already learned swimming, or I'm good at swimming. So success is not a destination. Success is it's actually what we do, the daily things that we do that amount to the successful thing at the end. To answer the question about stammering, oh, and then Wendy said something to do with and as. That's what we call in communication fillers. Sometimes you might get speakers who may use arms or as when they have forgotten something. It becomes a bit tiresome to the audience when I'm always doing So what you ought to use when you've forgotten something, replace that with a moment of silence. And you'll thank me later. So people will not realize that you forgot. They might think you just paused so that they can think about that point and then continue. On to now the question about stammering. Yes, some people stammer actually when they're faced with the public, or when they are told to speak in public, and then they start to stutter or to stammer. It might happen at the beginning, and then they get the gist of it, and then they flow. Now the thing about stammering, what we do, it's a whole 12 session kind of thing, because it's part of voice. It's something that you need to be coached on to now, let's say, manage the stammering. So it's something that will take long if I had to explain it now. Okay?
Right. Okay, and there's a question that came in private. I've got an issue with composure, eye contact, self-confidence. How can I get to level 3? Okay. I feel like all the questions you've answered are kind of how to get to level 3. Yes. But maybe if you want to add something, you could.
Now, level 3 doesn't happen overnight. Level 3 happens after we've done the work We have done everything afraid, and now courage comes or confidence comes at level 3. So as very little said it earlier, you've got to practice, practice, practice at level 2. The good news is, even as you practice at level 2, people will notice it and they'll be like, you're really good at what you're doing. It's only you who will be like, no, there's so much work I need to do. I need to work on myself so that I don't need to do all this groundwork. So that the next time I'm called to speak, it's just flowing. So the public won't realize what you normally do. They might think that it's normally effortless for you, but you're the only one who knows how much work you put into it. Most of the speakers we see up there are on level 2. Can you imagine? The ones on level 3 are actually the ones who can see you and know what's happening with you, and they will address that issue. Then there's so much intuition on level 3.
And
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
And yeah, practice happens on level 2. So to get to
Yeah.
level 2, you've got to just do it.
All right. So Javan says, I'm in ICT and poor public speaking has made me lose much. When I decided not to be an introvert, I rose to managerial level. Good for you. And saw technology in a different way as a business enabler with humanness in it. Today, I'm included among the best technovators. Um, okay, so I'm guessing he's saying most technical, we have to, so now I have to really be good at public speaking. So,
And
okay.
very- I'd
So
like
I'm not sure if it's a question or more like this is the situation. Yeah.
okay.
So basically, Javan is in ICT. He's a manager now, and I think because of his expertise, he must be getting more. Come and speak about this, or come speak to us about this, and he's saying it's not a skill that he has, and it's really cost him a lot. So I'm guessing he's trying to understand. What does he do? To get better.
Okay. So for Javan, I love that he also mentioned that he's in ICT and the introversion bit. Can you believe that public speaking or your communication styles are actually hinged to your personality types? So we have a tool at CCL called DISC. DISC. I'll introduce it in this forum. So the DISC, what we normally do is before you enroll for, let's say, our public speaking classes or communications coaching classes, we first of all do assessment to find out what your communication style is. So the D is your dominant trait, the I is your influential side, trait or style, the S is your steady style, and the C is your compliant or conscientious bit. We all have these 4 traits, but they are of different degrees. So if I have a high C and a high S, so if I was to put it in a pie chart, the D and the I would be on the upper side of the pie chart, each taking a quadrant. So D, I, upper side of the pie chart, and then the S just below the I, and then the C below the D. So the D's and the I's are extroverted, but the I's and the S's are people oriented. The C's and the S's are introverted, and the D's and the C's are work oriented. If my dominant trait is, let's say, CS, which makes me more of an introvert, and the C's are normally comprehensive, like myself, but also very conscientious, very compliant. So basically the perfectionist. So most people in ICT, IT, accounts, or anything that has a lot of analysis or data in it, they have a high C trait. And what does this reflect? How does this reflect on our communication? We will tend to be very comprehensive, highly introverted, but on the other side, the people, the people who are in our audience will see that we are highly skilled. How come we don't want to express this sort of genius to other people? What normally makes people get confused is, I said, if someone has, let's say, a high C and S, the S side is very people oriented, but we open up to people whom are in our cycles. So it's very hard for people who are in our cycles to understand or to figure why you wouldn't speak in public because you're very extroverted in quotes when you're around them and you're really good at what you do, which is your C trait. I might lose you a bit because I'm not showing it to you in a diagram form. So all this affects how we communicate. So the S's might be very caring in their communication. These are the people who will write, kindly, could you please, how was your weekend in an email? Even on a call, when they're calling you, they will check on you first. So they are very, even trustworthy, very loyal. They are the actual team players. I invite you to actually look for, let me chat you, Google Disk online, do the test, and then cutting it down, disk, bullet, and then do the test. See where you lie. See where you lie, see where your teammates lie. Because if you're with a direct person who has a dominant D trait, they might not beat about the bush. They'll be very direct, and people will wonder, where is the empathy? Where is the human touch in you? Say, I'm just from leave, and then this person asks, where's the report? And I'm like, I was on leave. Jeez, cut me the slack. Yeah, or the eyes are very influential and might you might tell them to do something, they might be excited at the beginning and then lose momentum towards the process of the project. So where do you lie? So for Javan, let's say he decided, he knew he's an introvert, but he decided to do something about it. And in the beginning I said this is not an innate skill, this is not a talent, you can modify it. So yeah, our personalities affect our communication styles, and there is work to be done in all these personality traits. Each has their own flaws, each has their own strengths. Well, I will stop it at that.
No problem. So yeah, and Javan, one of the things you could do also practically, because you have such great tech skill, just you can actually go to a university and say you want to speak to the students about your experience, in your particular area of expertise. And yeah, but when you do such things, when you keep getting out there, you one day just wake up and realize you're speaking in front of thousands of people and your nerves they're not there anymore. But you have to get out there, yeah? Okay, so in a way, people have asked this question, more than one person, but can you just bring a presentation? Do you always have to prepare?
You always have to prepare. Are they asking if can they just wing a presentation? Just wing it?
Yes, I mean, if I feel I know the content, must I prepare? Can't I just go and start talking?
If you feel you've mastered, if you feel you're on level 3, then you shouldn't be feeling fear. So even level 3, there is no practice. There's no all these things. So level 3, everything just flows. That's why it's called the flow state. But if you're still on level 2 where nerves, fear, you're still are subject to all those things, definitely you need to put in the work. If you're not getting paid to speak in public, you're not yet there. You're not yet there, so you need to prepare.
Yeah, and I would think, you may know your content, but delivery is still something else. So you may need to prepare for your delivery, yeah?
Yeah.
So all those things we've talked about, like using filler words and, connecting with the audience, those are things that people actively practice even when they are at mastery level, I would think. Okay, all right, and so we have another question. Okay, I think, okay. I happened to experience twice while giving a public speech where I felt embarrassed and dizzy and almost fainted. Is all that fear or I had a disorder?
All that is fear. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And then what about people who, they're on the other side? Yeah. They when they start speaking, they just start speaking and they speak really fast. So Caroline asked something in relation to that. It's like you want to get over and done with it and just go back to your seat.
So, good question again from Caroline. So that's part of voice. Another P of voice is your pacing. How are you pacing your delivery? If you're too fast, that shows you're nervous. You want to just do it. And by the way, public speaking is not about you. It's about your audience. In the communication cycle, there are three aspects. So it has you as the speaker, the message, and then your audience. Guess what's the most important? I just told you, your audience. So if they leave that room without having had anything or you not impacting anything on them, then you did nothing. And that's not what we call great public speaking. So pacing is important. Pace yourself so that you're not only too fast, but you're not also very extremely slow, so that people now are finishing your words for you. Yeah. So that's also another module on one of the piece of voice, which is pacing, that you would need to, let's say, sit for or Google or check out on YouTube. Pacing, how do you pace yourself?
Okay, and so could you type in the author and book again that you mentioned in
Okay.
the chat book? Yeah, as I look for any question I may have missed. Okay. So Wendy asks, is there a standard posture for public speaking? Do you have to move around or not?
Okay, thanks, Wendy. Okay, thanks, Wendy. So when it comes to, let's say, body language and image, that's under body language and image. Is there a correct posture? Our bodies leak messages. I love that question because now you've made us now focus on body language and image. Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to uh, show you right now, but fortunately, since we are on dual consciousness, we are victors, we can check them out. Later during the session, I will mention some of them. We have what we call open body language. So you're not crossing your hands, you're not putting your hands um, above your. Okay, there's nothing to do with arm crossing. Yeah. So your hands are basically, let's say, where God placed them. So they're hanging, or you do the steeple. Most news anchors do the steeple. You just write that down, the steeple, so that you can check that out. So the steeple is basically you put your hands or fingers in a way that your hands in a way that it looks like the steeple of the roof of a church. And that's the way it should be. So you'll just be putting them apart as you're demonstrating something, and so forth and so on. When it comes to movement, don't drill the floor because you are just standing permanently on one place. As you move, move with the pace of your voice. And as you move, don't move towards, don't be, let's say, just oriented towards one particular side. Make sure there is balance. So that too, I believe we shall have a different forum for this where we can now show you how this movement should be. Especially, let's say, if you're on the podium, if you're in the boardroom, can you move around the boardroom? Can you just move about where, let's say, the monitor is or the screen is? There's so many dynamics. It also depends on your environment. So the more formal a situation or a presentation is, the minimum the movement should be so that you're not too dramatic. So we'll address this in a different forum. It also has a lot to be covered.
All right. So thank you so much, Joan, for that presentation. I think it has given us at least some level of awareness as to the things that are tripping us up. So if you need to get in touch with Joan, please, you can email her on, you can see the contacts on the screen. Just grab us, as short of that as we close. And you can also check out their website. That's publicspeaking.co.ke. Yeah, and you can find out more there. All right. And thank you, Shadrach, for answering Ibrahim. That was very comprehensive. Yeah. We appreciate that. So, any parting shots you have for us as we close the session?
Now, my parting shot for everyone is, who do you have to be? And are you standing in your way of being that person? Yes? Who do you have to be? And are you standing in your way of being that person? Have a vision board. Have milestones towards that. It is all available. It is all possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. With that, I'd like to close the session. And thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, once again, specific to her area, please just reach out to her. So take a screenshot. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing you in 30 minutes. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.